What's going on, everybody? Welcome to 5-9 Gaming Direct. My name is the PlatinumChin, and for today's video, I'll be talking about the latest news surrounding Elden Ring. And we'll be covering new mechanics, abilities for the player, story, and much more. So if you're as excited for this game as I am, then buckle up because there's a decent amount to go through. Before we get started, if you enjoy the video, feel free to leave the video a like, comment down below what you're most looking forward to in this new game, and subscribe, hitting the bell notification to stay in the know of everything we put out here on 5-9 Gaming Direct. With all that said, let's dive in. From Software's next project after Sekiro and the Dark Souls series seems to take more from the two than we once thought. During Gamescom, there was a 15-minute gameplay demo that a select few were able to experience, with all who've seen it relaying this one phrase, freedom of choice. In Elden Ring, it appears that the player will have more freedom to explore than ever before in any Souls game. Think Breath of the Wild levels of exploration. There will be numerous optional activities that can be done while traversing the land between, the game's open world. And for fans preferring a more traditional and linear Souls-like style of games past, fear not, the land between is just that. In between Elden Ring's legacy dungeons that will be very similar to how older Souls games areas were handled, but still encompassing that main idea of freedom of choice. In the legacy dungeons, features that are available in the open world like the summoning of the player's ghostly seed and fast travel will become unavailable. One of the legacy dungeons in particular was heavily compared to the Boletarian Palace from Demon's Souls, sharing the same scope and multi-level areas to investigate, including illusionary walls. This time around though, players will be able to go through these dungeons with the ability to jump, much like Sekiro, giving the ability to hop along the castle's massive architecture, which could make for some interesting speedrun routes. Speaking of routes, like previously mentioned, players will be free to find their own path throughout these dungeons with more than one solution as well. For example, at this legacy castle, there is a ginormous troll at its main gate. The player can choose to fight it and reap any rewards after defeating the beast, or shoot at it with a sleep of arrows and sneak right on by. Another option would be to go along the side of the castle where a secret entrance is located. Players will find decisions like these to be commonplace throughout the entire game. When exploring the open world, players can run into numerous random encounters. One of the journalists watching the demo recalled a particular interaction where they saw a group of enemies gathered by a campfire, and as they got closer, a dragon swooped in and took them out in one move, reminiscent of some previous Souls games. In a less traditional encounter during the demo, the player came across a huge carriage that was being escorted by passive enemies, leaving the player with the choice to either walk by them or fight and defeat the enemies to secure the goodies they held. In Elden Ring, traversing the world will be easier than any Souls game before with the addition of the Spirit Steed, which has the ability to utilize special jumps throughout the land between, getting over cliffs and other obstacles. To further emphasize exploration, sprinting will no longer decrease stamina while not in combat. So even when not on your steed, getting around won't be such a chore. Players will not be running around blind like in previous Souls games either. Elden Ring will be including a map, which can be updated by finding map fragments throughout the world. And on the map, players have the ability to place markers at the entrance of dungeons, NPCs, treasure, or wherever they like, with them being easily visible in-game. For battles, Elden Ring will depart from Sekiro's more strict reactionary-based combat with constant parries. In this game, players move more slowly, more akin to the classic Souls titles. A new mechanic called the guard counter has been added, which allows players to perform a strike after a normal block. But in true Souls fashion, even this counter can be countered by foes, keeping players on their toes while maintaining a slower pace. Another addition to Elden Ring will be stealth, and like Sekiro, players will be able to hide in tall grass, giving the option to passively sneak around foes or get the drop on them. Heavy attacks will now have the ability to break an enemy's stance, leaving them wide open to a critical blow, similar to backstabbing moves of games past. Another addition to this game will be horse-mounted combat. Players will be able to fire arrows, cast spells, and swing their weapon while on horseback, allowing for some fun and creative hit-and-run tactics. Another new ability in Elden Ring allows the player to summon spirits, with each different type of spirit having their respective upgrade tree. As veteran Souls players know, The game's difficulty decreases marginally when enemies are aggroed to something else, and with the players being able to summon these spirits for difficult battles, even during boss fights, those struggling during certain sections will definitely have a better time with this ability at their disposal. For example, during a boss fight in the Legacy Castle, the player was able to summon a tank-like spirit, drawing away the enemy's attacks. Summoning these spirits will use FP or mana, the same energy used for casting spells, so players will need to make sure that they don't spam them and cut off their access to spells. One interesting new mechanic in this game is how it handles bonfires, the checkpoints of the Soul series. In the Elden Ring, the bonfires are called Lost Grace. Rays of light will shine from the grace, showing the player the way to the game's suggested path to the next main objective. But that's all it is, the suggested path. At times, it may be more wise for the player to ignore this guidance and come back after exploring. Once back, players can summon this game's version of the Firekeeper, the nice level up lady from previous Souls title, who in this game is called Melina. Melina will allow you to level up like previously mentioned and allow you to customize your spirit summons as well as any weapon skills that are found during your travels. Resting at Graces will also refill the Estus of this game, which are basically renewable healing items. But since Graces can be harder to come by, dispersing groups of enemies will refill the player's health by a certain amount, as a way to encourage the player to continue exploring. As for the story, it's been co-created and written by Dark Souls creator Hidetaki Miyazaki and Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin. Miyazaki gave Martin a general vision that he wished for the game. Martin took that, ran with it, and when finished, he told Miyazaki and his team he could do whatever they wanted with it. Basically, Martin composed the overall mythos of Elden Ring, and Miyazaki used it to determine the events currently in-game. Journalists were told that the game would follow an easier-to-grasp story like Sekiro, while still maintaining the iconic environmental storytelling of previous titles by From Software. Overall, Elden Ring appears to be the amalgamation of all previous projects by the developer, taking bits and pieces to make their greatest game yet. Elden Ring will be coming January 22nd, 2022 for consoles this generation and last, as well as PC. And honestly, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't hyped as anything to play it. What are your thoughts on From Software's next upcoming game? How hyped are you for Elden Ring? Let us know your thoughts down below. You know that we love to hear from you guys. My name is the PlatinumChin here at 5-9 Gaming Direct, and I will catch you guys next time.